Good morning, and welcome to day 2 of our MIX conference. Now, I can see that this is what happens when you are at the 8:30 keynote in Vegas on day 2. I was going to find out how many people in the audience here were up past midnight last night. Put up your hand. Okay, keep it up if you're up past 2. Keep it up if you just came here from the tables like 5 minutes ago. All right, well, I'm very excited to be here and to have the opportunity to walk through what we've done over the past year and the way that we think about the Windows Live platform and offering up a platform for a rich ecosystem of services to be built on top of. Now, Richard Karlsgaard, the publisher of Forbes, has talked about the cheap revolution. And in fact, there are a lot of dynamics in the industry today that are making it an incredibly exciting time to be in the technology business. As bandwidth becomes cheaper across all these different factors, more and more consumers, business people can just rely on being connected to the internet wherever they are from an increasingly rich and cool set of devices. So as Ray talked about yesterday, it enables a vision of the world where you can really take full advantage of PCs, take full advantage of devices, but where services are really at the hub of and can infuse every aspect of the ecosystem with value. So whether you've got the latest PC that can now do, has the power to do rich photo editing and video editing, how can services connect to that experience, make it better? What are the new kinds of things you can do with PC plus service? We see more and more people computing with mobile laptops, and the ubiquitous connectivity is opening up tremendous numbers of new scenarios. Now, in Seattle, if you look at the number of laptops in your average cafe, a lot of cafes, a lot of laptops. You think an increasing percentage of our GDP is happening in cafes. Our friends later on may tell us that that's not really what people are doing. It's about social networking. But the fact is that more and more places you can get access to rich services, and people are taking their computing power with them. I was on a trip down here just a couple weeks ago with my family, with my newest smartphone and the Live Search app on it. And it was remarkable to have that power in my pocket. And of course, there it's device plus service, getting access to things like driving directions, aerial maps on what is becoming an increasingly powerful and very high resolution screen. The new scenarios are remarkable. And then we've got the PC screens, the mobile screens, and the TV screens now getting IP connected in greater and greater numbers. So the opportunity of this IP converged future is here now. Now, the cheap revolution, bandwidth, storage, it's not just storage on the PCs, and it's not just cheaper computing in the PCs. We've got tens of thousands of servers that we can rack and light up and run on behalf of not only our business, but on behalf of our partners' business, and really drive some remarkable economics through this cheap revolution. So a remarkable opportunity here from all these different form factors, but really our vision is services are at the hub. Ray talked about picking between kind of your universal web experience or your experience first. And you guys saw yesterday with Silverlight more and more technologies to help basically allow you to not even have to make those trade-offs, get incredible richness of experience while taking full advantage of this cheap revolution. Now, over the last year, we've talked to a lot of people about what they most want to see in a services platform. We've talked to startups. We've talked to more mature online businesses. We've talked to venture capitalists. And people are excited about the opportunity, but they're losing sleep over a number of questions. There are a lot of challenges if you're a startup and you want to bet your business on top of somebody else's service infrastructure. You don't know what you really have to expect? Will things change? Will the APIs change and devalue the investments you've made technically? Will the business terms change on you? Can this partner scale? Can you rely on them for service? Will they be in the markets you want them to be and need them to be? What kind of commitments can they offer up to you? And, you know, we have some quotes here, you know, from Musser in the programmable web. I know he's here today at MIX. Wrote an article on 12 ways to use an API and to limit an API. Basically, all the challenges that people face when they try to do mashups of multiple service provider services. And even if you can figure out all the technical challenges, do you understand the business challenges? I regret to inform you that the salescentrics.com service has gone out of business. You know, these are kind of the nightmare scenarios. If you've decided that you're going to take advantage of this cheap revolution, you're going to take advantage of the investments that are being made across the internet, and you don't really know what to expect. APIs getting deprecated, terms of use not being clear. There really are some challenges here. So when we bubble that all up, when we net it out, what are the key components of the services platform that people are looking for? So one is, hey, non-commercial terms of use are fine, but I want commercial terms of use, and I want them to be really easy to understand. Don't make me have to have a law degree to understand what I'm getting into. People want predictability. Especially you talk to the venture capital community who are investing in all these startups. They desperately want predictability. They want to know that there's someone standing behind that predictability with the resources to be able to scale with their business. The key thing from the other slide is that people are afraid of success. You know, they have a great idea, they can get to market quicker than they ever could by leveraging internet technologies and leveraging the services opportunity, but they're afraid that what happens if I become very successful? Will everything I've bet on be able to scale and grow with me? They want the transparency, they want the opportunity to be able to have a deeper relationship with the service provider where you can really get SLAs, where you can sign up for multi-year agreements, where you can get training and tap into a broader partner ecosystem. And they want consistency to the best degree that we can give it to them. So I have to say I'm very proud of this slide because it's exactly the same as the slide that I presented 12 months ago at MIX06. How many people were at MIX06? Put up your hand. It's really fun when a strategy slide stays completely unchanged for 12 months. This is what we did last year. We said, we're going to get into this services platform game, and we've thought a lot about our principles around what it means to be a services platform. And these are our principles. And we didn't have a lot that was available a year ago. This past year, we've done a lot of work, as we'll walk through in the rest of the session, bringing out more service capabilities. But the vision and the key principles have remained the same. First off, we believe there's tremendous power in letting users give other websites permission access to their data, but the users are in control of that data. And everything you'll see from us supports that we will go to great lengths to make sure that the privacy of our users' information is maintained, that we provide security. In fact, a lot of what we're doing is trying to build a more secure mashup environment, as it were, where people can do more interesting things with the comfort that they're in control of their data. But we want to make it easy for developers to make money, and all the clarity and transparency around the commercial terms of use are to that end. Now, last year when I put up any platform, browser, language, or device, I'm sure there were people in the audience that were like, yeah, it's going to work on both WinXP and Vista, IE6 and IE7. I hope you see now that we're really serious about this. Fantastic work has been going on across a number of technologies. Silverlight is a fantastic example, and you saw the demos yesterday of what really means to take this any platform, any browser, any language, to any device. We've got to focus on simple APIs, so it's very easy for websites to get up and running. And in fact, we think that there's an interesting transition. Get up and running with simple controls that you can just, in effect, a few lines of JavaScript on your page all the way up to deeper APIs, and that are still simple to use, have consistency, but can give developers more control as they go. And of course, last year we said straightforward licensing, and we're delivering on that today. So what are we talking about today? What are we announcing? We're announcing the Windows Live Platform Beta. So we're announcing a set of services and, more importantly, simple and consistent terms of use for accessing those services. This is an early beta. This is the beginning of the discussion. Last year, we kicked off a discussion around what does the community want and need in a services platform. We think we've learned a lot from you. We think we've learned a lot from all of the other people in the community that we've talked to over this past year. So today we're bringing out the first set of services, or the next wave of services, for you to start kicking the tires. Start making use of these services and starting to give us feedback. Give us feedback on the APIs. Give us feedback on what we've opened, what you want us to open next. Give us feedback on the terms of use. We're also trying to make it very easy for you to understand what your business model will look like. In the event that you're as successful as you want to be, what's the impact of having made this bet on the Windows Live platform? I want to give you that predictability and put all the weight of Microsoft behind things that we do well. The number of developers that we train in a given year is second to none. The amount of investments, the outreach we have worldwide through our DRE organization, through our field, through all of our training channels is massive. We're very excited about being able to tap that kind of a experience that Microsoft, that's core to Microsoft, to be able to leverage this new services platform opportunity. You know, Ray said yesterday, and it's very true, at our core, Microsoft is a platform company. You even take our most successful application, Office, and it is a platform for a huge ecosystem of partners that build and extend on it. We can't help but think about platform. And here, this is really bringing something that Microsoft knows very well into a new domain. And that's massively exciting to me. And then, of course, again, as Ray said, we've been very thoughtful about what we're ready to roll out. There's a lot of things we're working on, and you're not going to have to wait for the next mix to hear about the next thing. But so we're committing that you haven't seen it all. You're going to see more services over time, and you're going to see the services that we're launching in beta today get better based on your feedback. So I talked a little bit about the evolution and this idea that we kind of think about platforms almost automatically at Microsoft. If you look at what we've been doing over the last 10 years, the primary focus on the services part of Microsoft has been about building high-scale services. And we have some insanely high-scale services today. We have over 500 million users around the world that access our services. A service like Windows Live Messenger has reached scale of over 260 million active users every month. And the law of large numbers has not yet kicked in. In other words, we still see incredible growth there. Around the world, as more and more people get access to broadband, that's what fuels instant messaging. And so in market after market, we just see the penetration of instant messaging, as one example, grow. And in most markets around the world, that means Windows Live Messenger. Mail also continuing to grow, over 260 million active users of Mail. We have the largest blogging service in the world with our Windows Live Spaces platform, with over 120 million users of that blogging and social networking service. And you know, you see numbers. How many people have seen the poster that we've got? The Windows Live platform poster. I think we'll be giving them out at the end of the talk, so be sure to get your poster. You know, we're taking 8 million photos uploaded every day, day after day. We've got remarkable scale storage systems behind these products. We've got incredibly high simultaneous connections to that messenger backend. And we've done all this to fuel that business, to fuel the MSN and the Windows Live businesses, but we've learned a tremendous amount about what it takes to build, scale, maintain, evolve, completely revolutionize, in other words, completely rewrite, over the past 10 years. If you want a really interesting engineering challenge, think about what it means to completely rewrite a service like Messenger, or a service like Passport, now Windows Live ID, or a service like Mail with no downtime. It's like changing the engine on a 747 in mid-flight. And we get to do that, and it's really fun, but we're now in kind of like multiple iterations into our services, and as we've gone, we've basically derived platform capabilities out. So whereas the first version of Hotmail, was basically one big application, the first version of Messenger was one big application, we now have presence platform, we now have data relay platforms, we have all these components, contacts have come out and have become a platform unto themselves. And this has happened to serve our needs and to serve our scale. But over the last 2 years, it's been very clear we can turn this into an asset that could be a remarkable building block, not only for Microsoft, other parts of Microsoft, but for a broader development community. Now, I mentioned other parts of Microsoft because what you've also seen recently, over the past year and a half, is us launch new service offerings like Office Live. And they're just leveraging all the platform investments we've made for MSN and Windows Live. So we're able to take a remarkably rich set of offerings to market very quickly, built on this infrastructure. The authentication, the contacts, the mail backend, the instant messaging infrastructure. So we're excited about taking all these learnings and what have become core competencies. We now are running many of the world's largest services, highest scale services. How can we deliver our economies of scale to the broader developer community? And that's what this is about, enabling new rich media applications, new mashups, social networking applications that can build on the building blocks that we've already got with Windows Live. So let's take a look at some of the specifics around what we're announcing today. What are the specific things that you can do? Well, in a nutshell, you can add video, photos, contacts, maps, and search to your site super easily. It can be as easily as a few lines of JavaScript that incorporate a control where the user experience within that div is delivered from our servers, or it can be calling REST APIs to get access into the data, and we'll walk you through how a little bit of that works. But you saw yesterday the investments we're making around Silverlight. What we also announced yesterday, and you'll hear more about today, is Silverlight Streaming, which lets you host your Silverlight application, your Silverlight assemblies, and all your media in our storage systems, and basically dramatically reduce the friction for a developer to release a really rich media application. We're opening up interfaces into our Spaces service and the photos, all these photos behind our Spaces service today. And today, that's read-only. There'll be shortly, within months, read-write access to enable you to kind of mash up that huge population of photos in interesting ways. One of the amazing assets in this Windows Live services platform are contacts. We've got on the order of 30 billion contact entries in our backing store. So all the contacts that are in somebody's Windows Live address book, whether they added it there through mail, through Messenger, from their mobile device, and giving secure private access to that information, we think is tremendous. With Virtual Earth, we continue to make huge investments in very, very rich visualization. So we've got like 17 petabytes of visualization data behind our maps and our local search. So that Virtual Earth platform is remarkable, and making that easy to be brought into other people's applications. And what's new today are new commercial terms around using Virtual Earth. And again, the one on the far right our search investments, the massive investments we're making around text search, video search, photo search, all our investments we're making in search, making that available also through clear commercial terms. Now, I talked a bit about putting the user in control of their data. And what that means is that we have built a system that allows a third-party website to make a request of the user. Hey, would you like to use your Windows Live contacts to pick a mailing address when you're sending this gift, to pick an email address if you're inviting somebody to some kind of a social experience, whatever the case may be. And through our infrastructure, the user basically can choose to either accept or deny access from that website to this aspect of their Windows Live data. And this is an area where you'll see, if you see in the beta today, it's a developer beta, and we basically want you to kind of work through the paces here. But we're very excited about this model, because this is a model where we think people can build on top of the data that they've already entrusted with Windows Live, knowing that they can always go back and say, you know what, I'm getting too much mail from these guys. I don't want to work with this website anymore. And they can say, hey, I no longer want to make them let them have access to my latest data on Windows Live. So giving that degree of control and making very visible to the end user what they're doing when they share, that kind of transparency is what leads to, I think, a very sustainable model for mashups on the internet that go way deeper than just mashing up maps, for instance. So you'll see more investment here, and this is an area where we definitely want your feedback. Now, this slide summarizes kind of the way we are thinking about how to offer up our services platform in a very simple and easy to understand way. The biggest takeaway from you is for every service that we decide that we want to make broadly available, every API, we're going to try to come up with we will come up with a threshold, and everything under that threshold is free to developers to use. And everything to the right, basically what we will do is we will give a very clear price based on usage. For if you, for instance, go over 1 million unique users per month leveraging the Contacts API, we will have a charge of annually 25 cents per user per year. So that tells you, if you're a startup, you know if you have complete success and hit your highest targets, you know the ceiling of what you might have to pay for these services. Now here it says exchange of value for usage. What that means is we'll give you a very clear price point where that may be what you want to what you want to do if you hit that level of usage. But we will also over time give you other ways to engage with us, whether it's leveraging an advertising system, whether it's other partnership opportunities. Basically, what we want is we want to have that bar be as far to the right as possible, because we really do want as many sites out there building on top of our ecosystem. Why is that? Well, we'd love for the next Match.com, the next MySpace, the next YouTube to wind up being something that feels native and like a part of the family of Windows Live. That's something that we think would be tremendous. It would be tremendous for our business. It would be tremendous for building out this ecosystem. So we really want to help as many opportunities come to market. We know that at some point that we're going to want to be able to have a conversation and say, hey, this is remarkable. What else should we be doing? Should we be changing the way we think about this platform to better serve what you see as your future of this incredibly growing business you've now got? So the transparency here around what the predictability, if you have so many users that you're in the right side, and we'll see the actual thresholds in a second. But then regardless where you are on the usage spectrum, give you the opportunity to get extended terms, to get SLAs, to get product support, and basically be using the same technology for commercial and non-commercial use. So let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail in the context of the services I just talked about. So Silverlight streaming, what we're saying is we'll give you up to 4 gig free storage for your assemblies and all your media, and free unlimited streaming for a year. That's up to 100 kbps per second. What we're actually tapping into is our platform, which really has a capacity of like a terabit per second. That's what you get to leverage if you leverage Silverlight streaming, our kind of global content distribution network. So we certainly have limits around the usage of the service, but they're meant to be basically as liberal as we can to get people actually building real things on top of this platform, and to give you as much basic free stuff as you can, as we can, to build your business on. And then make it very clear at the threshold what happens. So at the threshold of, once we provided up to 1 million minutes per month, then what happens? Here's the price tag. And when that launches, we'll have a very clear price tag for what will happen if you don't ever talk to Microsoft and you go over 1 million minutes per month. I talked about with contacts, with the Spaces, Photos control, up to 1 million users per month free. After 1 million users per month, for all the services that you're using, a total of 25 cents per user per year, as basically kind of your clear limit on what it would cost you. For Virtual Earth, we've raised the limit up to 3 million map tiles per month. And over 3 million, we've got all the commercial terms already today. That is a very mature platform offering with Virtual Earth. And with Live Search, very clear commercial terms that we're announcing today, as well as a much higher queries per month threshold, 750K queries per month. So across the board, focusing on clear terms of use, up into a certain threshold free. Beyond that, you know what the costs are. And we think this is basically responding to what we've learned over the last 9 to 12 months that people want in a services platform. So I've kind of framed for you what the vision is and what we're announcing. What I'd like to do is bring Koji Kato from my team, the Windows Live Services platform team, to come on out. Yesterday, he had a session that he talked about the 30-minute social application, and I asked him to come back and in 5 minutes give us a little quick run-through of what it's all about. Thanks, Koji.
Thanks, Brian. Greetings. I'm going to show you a sample application that we built on stage yesterday in our session, which was the 30-minute social application session. The application itself was built one Saturday evening in about 4 hours. But of course, after showing the sample application to my good friend Lynn Ayers, I needed to spend 4 more hours reworking the UI, and that's how we got this UI. As you can see, it's a simple travel journal. The UI is telling us that there's 2 things you can do. You can blog your latest trip, or you can see your friends' recent travel journals. This application uses the Windows Live sign-in control. This sign-in control is currently in our test integration clusters, and it will become prime time available in the summer. But this control enables 2 scenarios. The first is single sign-in across all the Windows Live web controls in your application, as well as providing a unique identifier for the current user that the third-party website can use. So let's actually log in. And here I would just log in with the demo account. And as soon as the page gets back to the mashup, we will be signed in using Windows Live ID for all the Windows Live web controls. Now, my architect was saying, no, Koji, don't do this, but I'm going to do this. To jack the demonstration up to the next level, I'm actually going to do it in 3D. So now, let's actually try out the scenario of blogging my latest trip. So normally, I live around Sammamish, Washington. But recently, I actually moved to Bellevue, Washington. But at the same time, where are we today? We're at Las Vegas. So I should be entering Las Vegas. And where am I at right now? I'm at MIX. I'm in Brian's session. So MIX at Brian's session. Some people. Now, let me actually talk about the end-to-end scenario why we built this mashup. So I'm an avid Windows Mobile 5 phone user. I built a custom application that will post the photos I take on this phone immediately to Spaces, which I'll make available to the public somewhere soon, like tomorrow. But what happens as an end result is that in my Spaces photo albums, it's littered with photos that I was going to blog about. So it just happens to be very convenient that several days ago, we launched the Windows Live Spaces control, which lets me get access to the photo albums and the photos on Windows Live Spaces. And here I am, very nervous, preparing for the session yesterday. We're going to actually use this photo to accompany the blog post I'm going to make. So I clicked Send Selected Photos, and a window popped up. Now, let me explain what just happened. As Brian was mentioning, we are very, very focused on providing user control. So what the Windows Live Spaces control did was that within the control, the data is still within our management, meaning Microsoft's management. There's Microsoft's commitment. But once it gets transferred over the barrier to a third-party website, such as this travel journal, it's out of Microsoft control. So it requires the user's attention. What this confirmation dialog is doing is it is actually providing a link to the third party's privacy statement. You should read these things. What the other thing that the control is doing is it is disclosing all the information that is about to be transferred from Microsoft to the third-party website. In this case, since I trust the third-party website, I'm going to click Send. And then this mashup application, the UI is very simple to indicate that it received something. It received one photo. That's what it's saying. Now, since I'm comfortable with the blog post, I'm going to click Preview to see what it's going to look like for my friends when they look at it using this application. So you can see that my photo's in there. This is how it's going to appear. And since I'm OK with this, I'm going to proceed to submit it. Once I do that, using the Spaces Blogit API, it brings up the Spaces blog form. It provides an opportunity for me to do some last-minute editing. Question mark. And since I'm OK with this, I'm going to click Publish Entry. Success. You just made a blog post. Now, let's actually talk about the other scenario, which is about seeing your friends' travel posts. This is what makes it a social application. This is applying your social relationships on top of generic information access. That's what it's doing. So let's actually look at that scenario. We're using the Windows Live Context control here, so you can pick and choose whose travel posts you want to see. In this case, I'm going to choose Mr. Abreu, because I know actually he's a travel maniac. So I choose him, and I'm going to click Send Selected Contacts. Likewise, the Spaces control, it brings up a privacy notice saying, we're about to transfer this information to the third-party website. Are you sure you really want to do this? And the answer in this case is yes. So what the application does at that point is it actually receives the information, parses through the RSS stream, and pushpins the various places that this person has been to. And to make fun of him a bit, so for some reason he's been to Antarctica, taking photos of like penguins. He either has too much time or too much money. Now, with that, I'd like to wrap it up. Windows Live Web Controls, they're here today. You can build applications against it. we're going to make this sample application available to the public too, very quickly, like tomorrow, as soon as I can find some time. It taps into the massive amounts of data in our data centers, as Brian was articulating. The hundreds of millions of Messenger users with the billions of messages that they generate per day, and the millions of Spaces sites which has lots of photos and blogs. That's what these controls open up to you, the developer. And last but not least, the controls really make it darn easy, because I was able to do this in 4 hours, and I'm not such a good dev. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Koji. So there you saw a very quick rundown of what you can do and the power of those controls. Now, those controls are one aspect of the platform offering that we're announcing today. I mentioned that there are also APIs so that you can bring information like the photos or the contacts into your own experience, and that's with a delegated authorization model. And you'll be able to hear more about that at other sessions that I'll point you to at the end of the talk. So we thought the best way to actually show you the kinds of things you could build on top of the Windows Live platform is to show you what's actually being done by early lead partners. And I want to talk about just a few of these here. There's some really very innovative things happening. Feralsoft, for instance, a UK company that's integrating contacts into their whole invoicing system for small businesses. Zopa is a social lending service, also from the UK, and they basically are leveraging the fact that we have the world's largest social networking platform in our contacts that's underlying our Live Messenger, Mail, and Spaces, and they're using that to make it easier for people to bring their friends into that social lending ecosystem. You have Redfin, which is a real estate service doing deep integration of Virtual Earth and taking full advantage of all of our visualization. TripHub is actually very similar, but a kind of much more advanced version of what we just saw. It's a travel and social networking site that leverages Virtual Earth. MSNBC is integrating, so within our own family, integrating contacts in interesting ways. And Info now leverages Virtual Earth to help you find kind of the branch or the partner that's closest to you, and they do that as a service offering behind many different business websites. But I'm very excited to actually bring on partners of ours, people who have partnered with us on the business side for years and are now doing very exciting things, Match.com. So I'd like to invite out Mike Prez, the CTO of Match.com, and Eddie Dombrower, the Senior VP of New Initiatives. Please welcome them.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Brian. 12 years ago, Match.com opened up its website to the world, and since then, we've become the world's largest online dating site. We're not just about online dating. We actually started as a place where you could search and connect with people. So to a large degree, we kicked off part of the social networking revolution that we're now in the midst of. We've become a mainstream part of the culture. So if I could do a quick little experiment, if everybody close their eyes, close your eyes. Now, if you've been on Match.com, this is why you have your eyes closed, put your hand up in the air. Come on, your eyes are closed. Come on, you can be honest. Okay, you can put your hands down and open your eyes. We are responsible, our industry, for about 10% of all the marriages that happen in the United States every year. Match.com specifically is responsible for creating 400,000 relationships every year. We are a part of the mainstream culture. We are a part of the single life. And to some degree, we're a part of the married life, which is an interesting part of our business. We are located, we get asked this question all the time, where we're located. We are in the heart of the most romantic love capital of the world, Dallas, Texas. That's our headquarters, which we manage the entire worldwide operations of Match.com. We're in a business that's about love and romance, and I got to say that it's really true that size does matter. We have about 1.5 million paying subscribers at any moment in time, and we have more than 15 million people who are active on our site. It's an important part of our business. It's a weird business in that our customer is our inventory. We don't have a lot of inventory. Our customers are wildly unhappy. So it's a major part of what we do to keep us in business. We are worldwide, and we'll talk about that in a second, but we have, in addition to the 15 million people, we have a tremendous amount of communications traffic that we provide. 55 million emails a month go between our customers. It's the main way they get to meet one another and get to know one another. We also get 60,000 new customers every day. So you can imagine all the seats in this room filled up 25 times over. Every single day around the world, that many people come and join Match.com to try and find the love of their life. So what makes Match.com work? Ultimately, it's about activity and communication. If people are not active on their site, if they don't communicate with one another, they don't succeed. There's lots of forms of self-expression, but primarily it is through email and something that we refer to as WINKs, which is a one-click communication, one-way communication to let somebody know. So while we have 55 million emails that get sent every month, we have many, many more WINKs that get sent. So communication's a big deal. So every chance we get, we look for new ways to create new kinds of communication. This year, we introduced Match Talk, which is a way in which people can call each other anonymously so that people don't have to give out their phone numbers and things like that. So we're a pretty successful business, and one of the secrets to our success is our relationship with MSN. So for the last 6 years or so, Match.com has powered MSN dating and personals. This has been a great relationship, and it's moved worldwide. We are in 34 countries, in over 14 languages, and it's a great part of our success. We have a very deep relationship with MSN. And for those of you who either put your hand up or were too shy to put your hand up, probably don't quite recognize this page. This is the skin of one of our international sites. So this is something that we localize the site along with MSN as we go around the world. But to show you that our relationship is more than skin deep, I'm going to hand over to Mike Prez, our Chief Technical Officer, and he's going to talk a little bit about more of our relationship with Microsoft.
Thanks, Eddie. I wanted to talk a little about the technology platform and scale that really drives the business and the partnership that Eddie just described. So we're a 100% Microsoft shop, Windows OS, IIS, SQL Server on the backside. We also are fully .NET development shop. But beyond that, we kind of pioneer kind of the different integration points from some of the Microsoft technologies. And whether that's Passport, Live ID for sign-in, alerts, search toolbar, we have a gadget, and there's actually a dating bot, believe it or not. But the other thing I wanted to kind of, for all of you to step away with from my talk is, we do this all at scale. Not the same scale as the 260 million Messenger users that Brian talked about that we are hoping to tap into, but Match is a formidable site, top 50 site in the English-speaking world. We push about a gigabit per second of traffic compressed at peak. We do about 1.5 billion page views every month globally. And so there's a lot of people looking for love, right? So let's talk specifically about kind of what we were hoping to achieve, with Windows Live Messenger and bringing that kind of functionality to our site. What we've found is that, user engagement is critical to kind of driving our business. And that instant real-time communication is even more powerful. So I don't know how many, there was a raise of hands, but we kind of have WINKs and we have what we call, email. It's double-blind email. But that's fairly non-instant. You got to send it, you got to wait. And what we found is when you can show someone online and then you find someone that you're interested in, and right then and there, it's a conversion point. for them to just go ahead and try to reach out immediately and get that instant feedback. And so we're constantly trying to improve and introduce new communication tools, and obviously it makes complete sense that, you know, an instant messaging product would be front and center on that. However, there's some interesting challenges with our business. You know, it's not really a technology challenge per se, it's kind of a business challenge. Most of, you know, all of the communication that we currently support in our business model is all done anonymously. We don't provide, you know, the email address of the user. So, you know, we have this anonymity that we really need to protect, and we needed to do that with Messenger as well. And then a couple of the features that we're going to show, and I want to get to the demo because that's, you know, why we're all here, but the ability to kind of light up the presence, know someone's online, know that 260 million users, you know, the ones that are at least, you know, on Match, even if they're not on the website, to know they light up on Match when someone's doing a search, that's just a powerful number. And then the other thing is, you know, just making sure that when they light up, it's not, you know, who they really are and their email address is exposed. So the Windows Live Messenger team really did a great job working with us very closely to kind of listen to what we needed and how to make that fit in our business model. We've had lots of discussions that basically led to the demo here that Eddie's going to show you.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't been on Match, this is maybe the first time you'll have seen a Match.com page. But I'm logged in right now as Pick Me 1971, which is clearly someone who was born before or after I was. Anyway, he's been looking around and he found this clever gal in Texas profile. I'm going to let you look at this profile for just a second. There's a lot of things on this profile that are finely tuned. In particular, this sort of pink or fuchsia button that says email her, or this little blue button that says wink at her. Those are our two main forms of communication. There's a bunch of other information about her that's really important to him. And you see here that we have a grayed out button that says chat with her. So we're going to do something that doesn't really happen in the dating world. We're going to have two people logged onto the same machine at the same time. So I'm going to now pretend I'm clever gal in Texas. A lot more hair than me. I'm going to now sign in. So she's just turned on her computer. She's signing into Windows Live Messenger. And so there she is. Now, when Pick Me 1971 either refreshes his page or in the normal behavior goes back and forth between a couple matches, you'll notice that all of a sudden we've detected her presence. Now, this is a live demo. It's running off of our servers. And it's just detected her presence. So now all of a sudden, the big call to action, the big thing we want to do, the big thing he wants to do, he wants to chat with her. Doesn't want to wait for an email. Doesn't want to wink at her and hope that, you know, he's the only one that did. So I'm going to click on this button and I'm going to open up a Match.com page with the Windows Live Messenger embedded in it. Now, why this is so important to us is because it allows us to provide the kind of information our users need. So it's telling this user what her name is. He can view her profile. He can see her age and that she's from the love capital of the world in Dallas, and who she's seeking and all of those other things. He can also keep a whole set of active chats on. Now, one thing you probably didn't notice, he's not necessarily logged into Windows Live Messenger. So that ability for us to allow our users to immediately communicate with someone who is, and for someone who's offline to see it, is a really important part. So now, I'm going to send her a message. It's Texas, after all. So now, if you keep your eye on the lower right part of the screen, you'll see that the toast is going to come up as soon as I send that message. So she now knows, even though she's not logged on to Match.com, that someone's trying to be in touch with her. This is a gigantic change in the way that our business will work. So she clicks on that in order to open up a Windows Live Messenger chat window. Now, here's another big deal. She doesn't know his name. She doesn't know his email address. This is the way she communicates with him. Now, of course, they can communicate now that they're in chat. They can communicate by sending their phone numbers, their email addresses, whatever. But in reality, most people, just like in any other social situation, are very gun-shy about sharing too much information. So we go to great lengths. And the way this API is constructed allows us to go to these lengths to protect people's anonymity. But as you can see, it's a fully functioning chat system. So as I'm typing on the window on the right, on the window on the left, you should see that it's showing that she's actively typing. There it is. And of course, it's fully functional, so all of our swell emoticons are there to choose from. So when I send it back, even though this is the Match.com, a Match.com window over there, it shows up just like a regular live chat. This is an enormous change for us. We're really excited that we're going to be able to bring this to our customers. It took us, with the way the APIs are constructed, less than 8 weeks to put this all together. It's ready to go live in 2007. We're going to roll this out with MSN all throughout the world, all throughout this year, and we just think that this is going to be a big game changer for us, and more importantly, it's going to be a big improvement and a great experience for our customers. So with that sort of concludes our demo, and I'd like to give the floor back to Brian.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brian.
That was great. So I love that. That is a great demo that really shows kind of what a mature business, a fantastic business, how this isn't just a startups-oriented platform. This is relevant for anybody on the web. Take advantage of these services, expand their business opportunities, expand the value to their users by leveraging the Windows Live platform. So that's fantastic. We're not announcing IAM and Presence APIs in beta today, but you'll hear from us later this summer on some of the things you just saw. So with that, I just want to quickly do a recap of what we talked about today and what we're announcing. We talked about our announcement around the Windows Live platform terms of use, which we think the first people in the industry to really put a focus on this level of clarity around commercial terms of use. We've announced beta availability of a number of controls and a number of services. Some of the controls are beyond beta, but a lot of new stuff there for you to start to play with and start to build on. And then hopefully giving you a glimpse into the way we think about this Windows Live platform opportunity at Microsoft, and a glimpse into the kind of support offerings and things you can expect from us in the future, as well as, of course, more APIs in different domains as we roll out the rest of the platform. So there's some things that, if you're interested in any of this, there are many different things that you can do. I'll list the sessions in a second, but first off, there's a completely revamped dev.live.com that you should check out that has access to all of the offerings, has access to the controls, the full API set, full SDK, and so give us feedback. Give us feedback, join the Windows Live developer forums on MSDN, engage and give us feedback. We also have the Live in the Box labs, which I think are very cool. And then finally, you got to come join us tonight and party with us at Pure. Now, I've been told you're not supposed to wear like jeans or sandals or shorts because it's a pretty upscale place. I'm like, wow, at a developer conference, this might be tough. But we have it private room at the beginning, and then it opens all up at 10 o'clock. So I hope to see all of you there. In terms of other information and events, there already were a couple of events yesterday, sessions yesterday, such as Koji's. There's one that's just almost right after my talk, which is to take a look at how Match.com is really doing what they're doing. That's the Broaden Your Market with Windows Live at 10:15. I want to highlight the 11:45 opening up Windows Live data. Because that's not on your written schedules. And in fact, I don't even know if that was on the errata sheet that went out. So this is the errata. But that gives you a deep look into the whole system we have around delegated authorization and how basically you can leverage our REST-based APIs to get access to Windows Live data. So that's this morning as well. And then, once again, we invite you to the MIX party at Pure. So we have time for some questions. I'll take some questions. But as you leave, I know there are people giving out T-shirts, giving out these posters. You know you're real when you have a poster with your programming model on it at Microsoft. So we've arrived. So with that, thank you very much. I think we've got some mics up there if anybody has questions. Wow, you guys were partying hard last night, I tell you. Yes, sir.
Hi there. Thanks, Brian, for the talk. Sure. Yeah, I'm interested in the Virtual Earth platform. I've got a question around that. I noticed that you kept, with the contacts control, etc., quite a simple term of use around the million user count. Is there a reason why you haven't applied that to the Virtual Earth as well? Because from my experience with the terms of use on Virtual Earth, it's quite complex to write a business case around tiling.
Yep, that's good feedback. We have simplified those terms of use some, so you'll see that, and we're going to continue to work to make it simpler. So the tiling kind of maps to some degree to our cost model for all the data that we license, but you're not the first person that's given that feedback, and so we'll still work on trying to make that even simpler.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay, if not, feel free to just come on up and speak with me privately and for a few of the Microsoft people in the room. Please enjoy your time at MIX. Hope you go see a lot of sessions, see a lot of demos, and we'll see you tonight at Pure. Thanks.